Emmy award winning.
Yes.
Honey.
Thank
okay,
you.
Here we go.
Okay, let's lay it out on the line.
Let's lay it all out.
Whether you're a creator, a brand builder, or just someone ready to level up, you're in the right place. So grab your notepad and let's build something iconic. This is the Built to Brand podcast, and we're just getting started.
Hello, everyone. It's Deja, and this is the Built to Brand podcast. I am super excited today because I have one of my friends, an amazing human being, an Emmy award winning.
Thank you, ma'am.
Journalist.
Yes.
Cleo Greene.
Oh, it is a pleasure to be here. This room is gorgeous.
I'm glad you like it. It was a labor of love.
I love it. It's really all the things.
Thank you so much. Okay, so as you guys know, on the Built to Brand podcast, we are talking all things branding, personal branding, professional branding, and I thought, who better to come in to talk to us than Miss Dallas herself? Listen, people love you, and you have built such a beautiful platform, and I just love watching your family and all of the great things that you have accomplished and will continue to accomplish.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about that too.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just jump right in.
Okay.
Tell us about your journey to television. How did you get there? And then we'll talk about how you stayed there.
Okay, my journey to television. You know what? I am a first generation American. Mm-hmm. My mom is from Jamaica. Mm-hmm. My dad is from Guyana, which is a small country in South America. Yes, so both cultures, you know, some way, somehow they ended up in New York City, fell in love. My father joined the Air Force, so I grew up on McGuire Air Force Base in New Jersey. And my family was always a news family. Like everyone watches the news, like everyone's into current events. Like it's just life. Like my mom is a special education teacher. Like they're just invested in stories and just knowing what's happening in our world, right? I grew up in a house where my dad got home at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and we're eating dinner, watching the news.
Wow.
And from being from South Jersey, like I saw Philly news. So, you know, ABC, Rick Williams, Monica Malpass, like I just grew up watching the news. Mm-hmm. And my grandmother, you know, she'd watch 2020, 60 Minutes. And one day she had said, you know, Cleo, I can't see you doing the news, you know. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, I can't see you, you know, on the desk. I do something like that, you know? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I can see myself doing that too. Oh, yes. I'm like, yes, I could do this too.
Yeah.
So from 8th grade, I always knew that I wanted to be in television news. I wanted to be a broadcaster. In fact, my high school yearbook, like, you know, those little 4 goals that's under everyone's picture. One of them says to be a television anchor in a top 5 market. And here I am, you know, and I've got to live that. But I always knew that's what I wanted to do.
That is phenomenal. You know, so many times, especially as a child, right? We have these like
dreams and goals, and they can come true.
And they can, right? And I think that's such a testament to like, one, just put it out there, speak it, say what you want to be, who you want to be, and then just go after it, right?
You're right.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so tell us what it's taken for you to sustain this career, right? Because I know that, I mean, there's many news anchors that come and go. How have you sustained a brand professionally that has...
you know what? It started in college, right? You major in broadcast journalism, and they'll tell you like the first thing that's so important is doing these internships. So I think from college, I kind of learned the sacrifice that I'm going to have to make. Like a lot of my friends were hanging out or pledging for a sorority, and like I didn't have that time. Like I was interning at, you know, stations in Philly. And then from there, I graduated 2008. That was the year of the economic recession. No one was hiring. So a lot of my friends in broadcast were like going to grad school to Syracuse University and like all the things. And I'm like, I am not paying nobody's loans for no grad school. So I actually reached out to WTJX, the public broadcasting system, PBS in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. And that was my first job. I packed my little bag. I went to the Virgin Islands. My family's from the islands. Like I thought I'd be all right, right?
Yeah.
But like here was my first time, like as a little adult, like living by myself on a whole like island.
Wow.
You know, that was my first job. And, you know, in television, Deja, there's like 200 markets.
Yes.
There's 200 markets, and each market, the top 5 markets in television are New York, LA, Chicago, Philadelphia, Dallas.
Yes.
In each market, you have your NBC, your ABC, your CBS, your Fox, your Univision, Telemundo. Like those are all the stations within each market.
Yeah.
The bigger the market you're in, the more money you make, the more people are watching you, the bigger, your job is.
Yeah.
They always say when you graduate college, go to a small market and make your mistakes. St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands was market nothing. Like it wasn't even on the map.
Yeah.
So yes, from there I was climbing the ladder. Like I went to Georgia, like market 112 or 114. I started small in these small markets, making my mistakes and just growing as a journalist.
Yes.
And then I finally got a job in Minneapolis, which was market 14 for ABC. And then I finally came here to Dallas.
Wow.
Market 5, but we just moved up to 4.
Okay.
That part, because people are moving here,
People
baby.
are moving here in droves.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk a little bit, because you say you start small.
Yeah.
And that's where you make your mistakes.
Yes.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about, and my favorite question to ask is, tell me about your favorite no.
I think my favorite no was when I was in Maryland. I was working it's called Delmarva. It's like the peninsula of Maryland.
Okay.
And most people at that station wanted to jump right into DC or Baltimore.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do that too. But I didn't get a yes.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get a yes. I got a no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From the big stations that were there. I think like the bottom of the barrel station there was like, okay, we'll take you.
Yeah.
But it was still kind of like a no.
Yeah.
And I think had I had gotten a yes, I wouldn't have made the stops that I'm making now. So I always feel like God is just in control of those yeses and nos, right?
Absolutely.
Like I probably needed that no.
Yeah.
I probably needed that no. Because I would have probably still been in DC. I probably wouldn't have gotten the growth that I have now.
Yes. Hindsight is 2020 though. You know, when we're younger and we're hearing those no's, we're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so devastating, but those no's shape us. And then in hindsight, when we're looking back, you're like, that no was purposeful, right? And God had a different plan for me. So let's talk about some of the challenges.
Okay.
I think sometimes when we look at individuals in their journey and they have these kind of aspirational jobs, me as well, everybody's like,
girl,
oh my gosh.
you as well.
And I'm
sure.
like, I'm just, making it. Things are hard.
Ma'am, you're
a
doing
lot of
it.
times.
Yeah.
Thank you. But tell us about some of the challenges, right? I think you're on a public platform.
Yeah.
You have to be a mom, a wife.
Yeah.
You are having to show up for a community. What has that been like for you? What are some of the ups and then some of the not so great parts about that experience?
It's hard.
Yeah.
Like this is not easy.
Yeah.
Like it's hard, and I know it could be even harder. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm in so many spaces and places. Like sometimes I'm just like tapped out. Like, there's moments I'm just in my car and I just cry because I'm just like I just feel so worn out. You know what I mean? Because there's so many things. Like there's your job for one, and like being a journalist and getting things right. And even though I'm telling stories for the community, there's this thing where you're almost telling the story to get an applause from your bosses, right? And like that is a lot of stress. Like you just want to be liked. Yeah. You just want to be the person. Yeah. And I think for a very long time, I haven't felt like I was the person. And it's not because of my, writing or my storytelling skills. It's just who I am as a person. I'm just not the flavor of the day. And, or the flavor for the couple of years. I just have felt that way. And that's another hurt because, you're trying to give 100%, but you're not like elevated or quote unquote one of the stars in your boss's eyes just because you're just not maybe the person that they're looking for. Sure. Because this business is about the way you look. It is. Right? It's about your package. Yes. And you are only be true.
Always on.
Right. Yeah. You're always on, but you can only be true to who you are. Yes. Right? And sometimes that's just not enough.
Fair.
Sometimes that's just not enough.
Yeah.
And it hurts.
Yeah.
And then there's being a mother.
Yes.
Right? Like, having to be on. I remember maybe I came back from maternity leave and my child is probably 6, 7 months old. And I had a review with my boss and I was like, I literally looked at her and I'm like, how do I get on your stars list? Because I'm doing everything I can, but I still feel like you don't really fight for me or elevate me in spaces that I need to be elevated in. And, you know,
I love that.
I just want to know, what do I have to do? Why am I not there? She looked at me and she was just like, I just feel like, let me tell you, I have my children's photos in my room because, you know, I believe in work-life balance. But I just feel like you're not all the way in. And I was like, I'm not all the way in. I'm like, I just gave birth. My child is 6 months old. I'm still breastfeeding. I wake up at 2:00 every morning and drive here bawling because sometimes I'm still like nursing my baby.
Literally.
Like coming here to work and give 100%. And I'm not all in.
Yeah.
Like it's little things like that just, they dig deep.
Yes.
They dig deep.
Can we talk really quickly about your schedule? Because I remember one of the first times we met, you were literally rushing out of the room because you're like, I have to go to sleep right now.
Yeah.
Tell us about what this has meant as far as like a sacrifice in showing up every day.
So I've always been on a morning show schedule. Like any station I go to, even if they say I'm dayside, like they see my personality and they're like, oh, you're a morning show personality.
Yeah.
And my alarm clock goes off like around 2 a.m. And I'm at, you know, that station by 3 a.m. I usually like roll in there with my pajamas on and like start doing makeup and writing and all the things. But yeah, it's a 2 a.m. start, 3 a.m. at the station. And then you don't get off till about 12, 1 o'clock. And then you go home and you got to be mommy. So it is a lot. It is a lot on your body. It is a lot on your soul. Like, just it's taxing.
Yeah. And you're like, and you don't see me. It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. And I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, you know what time it is. Like,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about being a woman of color in this space.
Yeah.
I think over the years, we have started to see a lot of celebration around journalists of color and being on these platforms.
Yes, ma'am.
What has that meant for you? I mean, the ability to show up as your full self.
Yeah.
As full as you can, right? Hair. I've seen so many women with like braids now and things that you would never see back in the day.
This is an amazing like moment in time right now that, you know, because I feel like I've kind of lived in a moment where we didn't get to do that, right? Like I was at a station where, you know, my boss did say like, oh, I love your curly hair, Cleo, but it looks like you're on vacation. And this was from a Black woman.
Oh, okay.
You know, Tanya, she knows this. But yeah, you know.
We're getting all the shouts out today, okay?
Miss Tanya knows.
Hey, Tanya, girl.
She knows. Yes, but I came from a moment of that. Like I couldn't wear my shoulders out. I had to wear blazers.
Yes.
Like, and I was in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. Like it's hot as hell. I got blazers on. But yes, time has changed. Hair, just expression, storytelling has changed. There is a huge celebration. My only hope is in this time and in this moment that it does continue.
I agree.
That is my only hope.
I agree. Let's talk a little bit about your journey when it comes to what's next. So I think we had a very...
When is this airing, Deja?
What'd you say?
When are you airing this podcast?
Not till March.
Okay, I can say a lot.
Yes,
so
you
now.
can say a lot. Yes, so we won't see this until after it's done.
I love it.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about what's next for you and why you have made this critical step in your career, as much as you want to share.
What's next for me? What's next for me, Deja, came without me even like pondering a what's next. Okay. I'll be honest, January 6th, my news director sent me a text message. I had just anchored the midday news. A text message. She sent me a text message. She was like, hey, we need to talk. can we talk after the show? I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting at my desk. I'm waiting for her to come get me. And she's like, we actually have to go down to HR. Okay. We all know if you got to go down to HR, it is never a good thing, right?
Yeah.
So she's like walking 2 steps ahead of me and we're going down to HR. And in my head, I'm like, you did nothing wrong. Like what
You did
what's
nothing
happening?
wrong.
Like, did I say anything? I'm like trying to think of all the things.
Yeah.
So we sit down and she's like, you know, the HR lady's in there and she's like, we're going to have a really difficult conversation. I'm like, oh, great. She basically said like, you know, I'm the weekend morning anchor reporter at Channel 8, ABC here in Dallas. And she said, listen, the company has decided to dissolve your role. And I just went black. Like I was like, dissolve my role? Because you think of all the things like I've been fighting to like get to this big market. You know, my husband and I bought a house. We have a baby. We have all the things. Like I just can't jump and move to another city right now. I don't like, I'm thinking of all this. I'm like, dissolve my role. And she's like, yeah. You know, you are at the 1-year mark in your 2-year contract and the company has the option to dissolve. And like, there was no other like thing. They were like, you know, you're entitled to a payout and like all the things, but that was just like it. You know, and it hurt. I'm like, it hurt.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what, that same week,
Let's
literally
talk about God.
probably the next day.
Yes.
Thank you, God. Thank you. Just, oh my God,
Yes.
everyone who prays over my life.
Yes.
NBC called and like we communicated and they were like, listen, we are totally interested in you to be the next co-host of NBC Texas Today. And I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, I just feel like that's so up my alley. They were like, but do you think you'll be okay, like, leaving news? I'm like, leaving news? I'm like, yeah, I think I'll be totally fine. Like, this is so much fun. Like, there's so many community impact stories I'll be able to tell. Like, it's just, it is a different vibe. And, like, I feel like people are really going to get to see Cleo.
I love
like
this.
I can only be so much Cleo when you're talking about the craziest things happening, homicides and fires and like all the things.
Yes.
But I just feel like this is so my personality and the team over there seems amazing. Now, am I still grieving my old job? Because yes, I did love my old station and I did love what I was doing.
You did incredible work.
That was my thing.
Yes.
But that door closed on me without me asking for it to close. And I just think this was the most beautiful, like organic way to make this pivot in life.
Yeah.
Like I'm so excited.
I hope when we're sitting here years from now and I'm asking you what was your favorite no.
That's definitely going to be my favorite no.
That's going to be your favorite no.
Definitely. And it wasn't right now because I haven't gone over there yet.
Yeah.
But I think it is.
Yeah. My favorite quote, and I don't know, I guess I'm quoting myself, which is,
go girl.
But I always say, it's so beautiful that there is life after life.
Yeah.
And sometimes we think that the life that we're living, we have reached the pinnacle and we are,
Deja, I wouldn't have left. I would not have left that spot.
Yeah. I've been there and I understand that. But sometimes when that rug gets pulled.
Hell, it got pulled. Like,
but then that life after that life,
know.
Honey, it can be so beautiful. So I'm so excited for you.
Thank you so much. Yes. I'm excited. Like I'm really ecstatic. And they seem happy about me. Like they literally called me and they're like, you know, after the interview process and all the things, and I remember my now boss.
Yes.
She was like, "You're our girl," and I'm like, "Yes,
yes, I am. Yes, I
am." They're just so excited about me, like just me, Cleo, and I'm like so thrilled about that.
Oh my gosh, I'm elated for you.
Thank you.
I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about all of the impact that you've had on this market and just your intentionality about really expanding opportunities for women, for small businesses. Yes. For, I mean, just diverse communities. I mean, like, what has that meant for you, and why have you made that a priority in your career?
You know what? That was like the beauty of the weekend morning show. Like, I had the opportunity to book guests that like I wanted to like bring on the show. And I was seeing like, you know, when you're weekday and you're in a newscast, like there's only but so many like moments and spaces that, you know, they need to like book experts for things or people that are a little higher on the totem pole. But I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, I've got this unique little like thing that I can like bring in small businesses, you know, people that wouldn't necessarily get 3 or 5 minutes on a newscast. Like I had the option to like say, let's do it.
Yeah.
And many of the times it was like the first time for people
Yes.
to get a spot on air. And like that brought me so much joy because I've seen so many people. I've been doing this for 7 years now here in Dallas. And like I've seen so many people grow and like launch other things because they were either on the news or just all the things. And that was like, I felt like that was my little purpose. Like, no, like here, like if I'm able to say, yes, bring this person on, let me help you set up your questions and what this is going to look like.
Yes.
Like that was like I feel like that was my small, tiny, minute little give back. Like, come on, let's do this.
I think you feel like it's minute.
You need some like shine.
Yeah, but it's monumental, right? What you've done here, what you will continue to do. Because
on
it's just
a bigger scale
who
too.
you are. Like, you're like this little iota of a thing. And I'm like, no, what you're doing is massive, right? Because what you're allowing people to do is, again, to show up on this platform. And even if it's 3 to 5 minutes, it can be life-changing. I mean, even for me, when we met, I was like, I just have to know you because you just seem so dope. Sweet. And we hit it off, right? But also it's like, well, tell me what you're doing. And then you looked at me and you said, you can do this. Like,
yes, come on.
And I think so many people don't have the opportunity to have someone say, you deserve this and you can do this.
That part.
Kudos
Thank
to you. Good job.
Thank you. Yes. Oh my God, don't make me cry. I gotta keep these lashes on, okay?
So let's talk about one of your favorite success stories. So someone that you may have had on the show, someone that you gave an opportunity to, but then you were like, oh wow, like look at what that has manifested into. Feel free to use our bodega. No, I'm just kidding.
No. Seriously, look at this. This is beautiful. You already like did it.
Yeah.
You know what? No, I think one of my favorite success stories probably didn't even happen like on air. I remember this girl. Her name's Cleo. How funny is that? She reached out to me on social media and she was like, Cleo, I am in finance and I've always wanted to be a journalist. How do I do this? And like, that's a very like open-ended, like, where do we even start? You're in finance and you want to be a journalist. You want to work for the news. But I found a way. I was like, okay, Cleo, let's meet.
Yeah.
Because like, it was like constant, like, you know, she would always comment on a picture. Like, so we have like built this little relationship, but I'm like, let's meet in person. And she seemed so passionate. So I was like, okay, we're going to do this old school way. Like, we're going to shoot stand-ups. We're going to do storytelling packages because you need a reel.
Okay.
That's what you need, like, to get your first job. You need a reel.
Yeah.
That reel has to have like 5 stand-ups of you like in the street saying, hi, my name is Cleo so-and-so, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Because that news director has to see what you look like, what you sound like, all the things. Remember? It's a sight and sound thing first. And then we had to have stories, like 3 or 4 stories to let them know that you can be a storyteller.
Okay.
We went out, she rented a camera and we went out and like shot all this stuff and wrote her stories. And she was so floored that Cleo from the news was like taking the time out to like do this. But I believed in her. And I wish someone, you know what I mean? Like if that were me, I wish someone would take the time out, you know, to do that for me as well.
Yeah.
So she created the reel. She started applying to these stations and actually got, you know, a deal, an offer.
What?
She got an offer from a station.
Wow.
I want to say it was in Oklahoma. I think it was in Oklahoma. She's going to kill me that I can't remember this. Yes, it was in Oklahoma. And guess what? She went and she didn't realize how much of a grind it really is.
Yeah.
And she opted out.
Okay.
But I was like, girl, I got you there. And I told you this wasn't going to be, going to be easy.
Listen,
I know.
A lot.
She was honest with herself. She was like, Cleo, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
I was like, I told you.
It's a lot of work.
To do this.
It's so much work. I've had people.
It is not. I always tell my mentees, I'm like, girl, this is not a beauty contest.
Yeah.
This is not a thing. This is
hard
This is
work.
a grind. You will be shooting and writing and editing all your stuff until you're, you know, in a bigger market.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, Deja, the game has changed. Yeah. Now there's younger women, men, like that are able to come out of college and go into these big markets just because stations are getting, I mean, quote unquote, cheap now, you know? But I always tell people, make your mistakes like how I went to these small markets. Make your mistakes so that when you are ready to go to this big market,
there's grace.
You're getting your coins and you're amazing.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Wow.
It's a process.
I mean, that's a
It's a
beautiful story. And I think we even talked earlier a little bit about believing in yourself
Yeah.
and what that can yield. And
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to this young woman who
She
also
did.
not only could not believe that you were interacting with her and like willing to
I'm
give
like,
your
girl,
time.
we're going to do this.
But I mean, imagine what you can produce and what experiences you can create for yourself if you just believe in yourself.
And ask for help.
And ask for help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about how you have found some ways to work smarter and not harder and navigating what can be a very challenging career.
Working smarter, not harder, is really like planning your day.
Yeah.
Planning your day, planning your month. Like I've been trying to do that a lot more so that I'm not always like trying to make a deadline some way, somehow. Like planning that, even down to today. Like I knew I needed to come here at this time. I knew I had like a Galentine's Day thing.
Yes.
Like, I planned the day so that I'm working smarter and not harder and rushing to do things. Because rushing in this business and even in life, it just gets you nowhere. When you can plan something, do it.
Yes.
And then when it comes to work, I'm sorry, ChatGPT, what the heck is that about? I had no parts with it. Like I did not want to like touch it. This girl's got me looking good. Like when it comes to like resumes and like even just like thought-provoking like things. Like I'm just like, the other day I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, hey, help me write a caption for friends that were so sweet to me, like leaving the station.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. I'll doctor this up. And I'm like, I would have spent 2 hours trying to think of like the most thoughtful thing.
Exactly.
And like I just saw what she had to say and I'm like, okay, I can change that up. And I like that. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
But no, oh my God. I'm telling you, that ChatGPT, AI in general, it is about to take over.
It's going to take
over. And you got to get on the bandwagon. Just like social media, you know, just like when Facebook first came out. A lot of us were kind of like, what is this? And now, like, people are running businesses.
Absolutely. And I think it's critical, too. I think a lot of times we're making hires to fill those gaps. And now using AI, like, you can literally cut down on not only the time that you're spending, but you're saving yourself tons of money by not having to go out and hire copywriters and all these things because now you have this tool at your disposal. And yes, you can run from it all you want to, but it's here. I remember I was like, I'm not getting on the Facebook. And I'm like, now look at us.
I know, now Facebook's old. Now
Facebook is old and we're on to the other things, right? So, oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming.
It was a pleasure
and thank you for your transparency.
This is awesome.
I did a thing, friends.
You did a big old thing, ma'am.
So tell everyone where they can find you. Okay. I mean, we have this new upcoming show that we're going to be able to see you on, but also, guys, if you do not follow her on social media, please follow her on social media. You're just the sweetest human. And you have the sweetest baby, an amazing husband.
I am about to start this amazing job. I'm going to be co-hosting NBC Texas Today, Monday through Friday. It airs at 11:30, and I think it's going to be amazing. Like I cannot wait to get started there.
It's gonna be so good.
So yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is. Oh my God. I feel like it's gonna explode into something.
All right. Well, phenomenal. Awesome. Thank you, and I look forward to all the amazing things you have coming down the pipeline.
Congrats to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you.